Good evening, everybody. Sound is on.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
we hear you. We see you.
Okay, good. Very good. Yom Yerushalayim Sameach.
Same to you.
Um, I have remind me at the end of our discussion, our learning here, I have just a little something on Yerushalayim that I want to share with you. Okay. Parshat Bamidbar, we're starting a new sefer. So I have three pieces here. Well, the first is an oldie but goodie. We have done this in the past. It is from Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky, and it's a classic uh, piece on the structure of Bnei Israel, the formation of Bnei Israel in the Midbar, and about Achtu Yisrael, about Jewish unity. So let's see what he says. Pasuk says, "B'davar Hashem Moshe b'shana shashenit." He spoke to Moshe on the second year. Let's say Meretz Mitzrayim, 2 years after they came out of Mitzrayim, Lemor Su'u at Rosh Bnei Israel. So now we're going to make take a census of Bnei Israel. The second year out of Mitzrayim. Hine Aminyan Hazeh, Rav Yaakov writes, this census, Kanira Miseder Hashvatim Shemana. It's the order. He's doing it in the order of the tribes. Shemona had Gad, Achar Ruven, v'Shimon. Gad is after Ruven and Shimon. Haya bichud k'dei l'sader et inyan hadegalim. It was done this way in order to set up the flags of Bnei Israel. Every tribe, every shevet had its own unique flag. What was on the flag is actually a machlokas in Chazal, whether it was a symbol or something else. Ulechura tamua. Here's my question. Hello, Takef kishiyatsu b'nei Yisrael Mitzrayim. The moment we left Mitzrayim, yatsu b'nei Yisrael, the Jewish people went out al tzivotam, in order. Uchedichtiv ub'nei Yisrael yotzim biyad ramah. We went out with a high hand. V'chein, and furthermore, v'chamushim. We went out armed, b'nei Yisrael. Hari shalo yatsu ga'avadim. They didn't go out as slaves. We went out with our heads held high. And not like Ka'avadim haborchim me'adoneim, who run away from their master. Ella ka'am chavshi. We left Egypt as a free nation. So here's my question, Rav Yaakov asks. V'amai himtinu, why does the Torah wait? Why did the Rebbe Shalom wait? Why did Moshe wait? Milisader et hadigalim shana tmima, to wait a full year to set up the flag system, to set up the tribes according to their flags and to host their. Why wait an entire year? Right, this is the second year from Mitzrayim that we now set up the flag formation in the Machaneh. Right? Why wait a year? That's Rabbi Yaakov's question. Itma'a, it's strange. Very strange. Ella, he says, but I want to tell you, it's not strange at all. Shebemet, what's the flags? What are the flags all about? Minyan Adigalim, the idea of flags, l'churuhu pirud halavavot. Flags create dissension. They create differences, right? Anybody that's gone to camp and remembers the flags and color war, right? Flags, or you don't have to go that far back. You just look at the United Nations, right? Flags, are not a unifying force. They are a dividing force, right? Everyone is under their flag. I just saw a beautiful video today about 80 times. So many people sent it to me about Yerushalayim B'Yadenu, Ha'abayit B'Yadenu. And one of the moments in that video was they took down, I didn't even see what it was, a Palestinian flag, a Jordanian flag, and they put up our flag, right, in the Harabayit. He said, "Vada shekol tseva yesh bo eze semel miyuchad." every tribe, every Shevet had their own insignia, their own mark on the flag. It was right potentially divisive. V'chein hatziurim shayu al kol degel v'degel. The drawings that were on the degel, right? Whatever they were against the machloket, right? Hello, Zed Siyain, he called Shevet v'Shevet. This pointed to the fact that every tribe, yesh lo tchuna o she'ifa miyuchedet, had its own character, direction, personality, task, tafkid in Klal Yisrael. Umatarat ha'echad shonemi matarat hasheni. The purpose of one tribe, of one Shevet, was not the same as another Shevet. V'nimtza ki lechura adigalim. It comes out that the flags gormu lepirud halavavot. They create dissension. They would create machlokas, right? Ella mikivan shahaya lekulam merkaz echad. But now, a year later, there was a focal point in the very center of Machane Yisrael. V'hainu HaMishkan. The Mishkan was now built in the middle of Machane Yisrael. V'kulam chonim misaviv leMishkan. And all of the Shiftei Ka, all of the tribes were encamped around the Mishkan. Ein ze gorem lepirut. The flags are not going to create a sense of pirut, of separation, right? Ela kol echad omeid al mishmarto amiyuchedet lo. Everybody has their own unique role. Ve'ein kan shum pirut, but there's no machlokas. Why? Because everyone is standing around the Mishkan. The Mishkan is our focal point. Everything we do is based on the unifying force of the Mishkan. This is like similar to a human being. The ears were created to hear. Einayim lirot, and the eyes to see. V'chitale al datcha shetiyeh beineim pirud u'machloket. Would you think that there should be a difference of opinion between them? The eyes are going to argue with the feet and the ears, etc. The same thing with, it's one body with multiple organs that have multiple tasks, but they all work in tandem. Mikevan shekulam meruchazim l'nekuda merkazit, since everybody was encircled around one central point. Achat im kain ein chashash pirud machlokas. So there's no fear that there's going to be machlokas. Ulefichach kol zman shelo hukama mishkan, as long as the Mishkan was not up yet, v'lo haya adayin merkaz ruchani, there was not a spiritual central address. Az hayta kol ha'uma kativa achat v'degel echad lekulam. Right? Mashe'en kain. So everybody was on their own. Mashe'en kain. Achar shehukama Mishkan, but once the Mishkan was built, ki az ein shum chashash l'degalim. We don't have to worry about the individuality of each tribe and each flag. Ulefichach achar shebechodesh harishon b'shana hashenit. So therefore, the Torah says after the first month of the second year, hukama Mishkan, the Mishkan was put up. At that point, then we engaged in the flag. We were given the flags, right? On Rosh Chodesh of the second month in the second year. Now we can give out the flags. Okay. We are all very different, but we need a unifying force, right? And sometimes it's not the government, right? As we all know right now. Let's hope that there will be a unifying force very soon in our current situation. The second piece is from Rav Hutner in the Pachad Yitzchak. And this is a very lengthy piece. As you see, I have just two chapters here, Aleph and Lamed, 1 and 30. So it's a very major piece from Rav Hutner, but I've taken out one kernel from it, which I think will help us a little bit. He quotes the pasuk, "Rak hishamer lecha." We're standing before Shavuot now. It's going to be Shavuot soon, when we recall the events of the revelation of Mam and Har Sinai, what took place on Har Sinai, receiving the Torah. So the Torah says, "Rak hishamer lecha," guard yourself. Ushmor nafshecha, guard your soul moed very much. Pen tishkach. I'm warning you that you shouldn't forget, lest you forget at hadvarim asher ra'u einecha, all of the things that you see. He's talking about Mam and Har Sinai. Pen yasuru milavavcha kol yemei chayecha, should never leave you. V'hodatem levanecha ulivnei banecha, and you should tell it over to your children and your grandchildren. Yom asher amarata lifnei Hashem Elokecha b'chorav, the day upon which you stood in front of the Ribono Shel Olam b'chorev, at Har Sinai. Now, the difference of opinion, how to understand this pasuk. Shitat Ramban, the Shita of the Ramban, ki hachi shamer ulav nimna ben shasa halabin. According to the Ramban, this is one of the 613 mitzvahs, right? In fact, it's one of the 365 negative commandments. Not to forget Har Sinai. Not to forget Har Sinai. Love the mechayev zechirat Maimen Har Sinai. Not to forget the event of Maimen Har Sinai. Now, everybody else disagrees with him, right? He actually brings this in his Pirush on the Rambam Sefer HaMitzvahs. The Rambam does not count Maimen Har Sinai, remembering Har Sinai, the events of Har Sinai, as a mitzvah. And at the end of the Rambam's Pirush, the Ramban writes a Sefer called Mitzvot Sheshachach Harav, the mitzvahs that the rabbi forgot, right? Talking about the Rambam. And one of the mitzvahs that he counts, that the Ramban counts, that the Rambam did not count, is remembering the events of Har Sinai. Das hacholkim alav, those who disagree with him, ve'enam monim et halav hazeh b'minyan taryag, and they do not count this as, I say, one of the 613 taryag mitzvahs. Wahiki pen tishkach upen yasuru the hakra. This, don't forget, don't ever forget of this pasuk is azhara. It is a warning al klaliot haTorah, not to forget Torah, not to forget the Torah we learn. It's not about the place where Torah was given. It's a pasuk that is dealing with, Hishamer Shmoras Nafshecha Pen Tishkach Es Advorim Asher Unet. The things that you see, we're talking about Divrei Torah. We're talking about Torah itself. Ve'eino mechavein. It's not talking about the moment, the impact of Har Sinai. It's talking about what we got in Har Sinai. Ramban zal b'minyan hamitzvot, and the Ramban in his minyan hamitzvot shelo, even though he brings it as a mitzvah, but he asks a question. He asks a question on himself. Ich shal atzmo. He asks a question on himself. I hope this pasuk is talking about a mitzvah to remember the event of Har Sinai, but he asks. Misugyat a Gemara Kedushin, from a Gemara in Kedushin. The Gemara says, Kol hamalamed et ben beno Torah, anyone who teaches his son's son, his grandchild's Torah, it is accredited to him as if that Torah that the child receives was received actually on Mount Sinai, from Mount Sinai, right? Teach your grandchild Torah. You reclaim the fact that your child it's as if your grandchild is receiving that Torah from Har Sinai. Shenemar, how do we know that? Because the pasuk says, "V'hodatem," you should teach them levanecha, your son, ulivnei vanecha, and to the sons of your sons. V'samich le, and right next to that is Yom Asher Amarata, the day where you stood lifnei Hashem Elokecha, before God, b'chorev, at Har Sinai. So so it comes out that this pasuk, the Hakra Koi, al Klalius HaTorah. He's asking on himself, how can I say that the other pasuk is talking about the mitzvah to remember Har Sinai, when you see that really it's not? It's talking about teaching Torah to your children, right? And it's a reminder that it will be like, it'll be credited as if we were at Har Sinai. Utshuva al zeh, the Farish Ramban, so Ramban answers his own question. It's true. Hach melamed et ben beno Torah, this pasuk about teaching your son, your grandson, Torah, and it's as if it's accredited as if it took place on Har Sinai. Hakavana hu bemet l'divrei Torah hashayachim l'mayim. It's talking about the Torah that was given at Har Sinai. It is talking about the Torah that's given at Har Sinai, not the event of Har Sinai. V'teimehi, I have a problem, Rav Hutner says. Al Ramban, and the Ramban himself, Shehevi misugi de Kedushin. Why does he bring this pasuk from Kedushin, the Gemara in Kedushin? V'lo hevi Mishnah mefureshet b'Masechet Avot. There's a Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, an obvious Mishnah. V'itasham kol hashocheach. This is a Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, right? We're in the season of Pirkei Avos now, right? So the Mishnah says, kol hashocheach davar echad b'mishnato. Anyone who forgets one thing that he learned from his learning, it's accredited to him ki'ilu mitchaye b'nafsho. His life is in danger. How do we know that? From what pasuk? Rak hishamei lecha ushmor nafshecha ma'od. Our original pasuk that the Ramban says is talking about the event of Har Sinai. But if someone forgets the Torah, right, he's going to go against this pasuk. Hishamei lecha ushmor nafshecha ma'od pen tishkach et advarim asher ra'u einecha. All the things that you saw. So why didn't the Ramban bring this Mishnah, right? Why not, right? So he writes, Yachol afilu takfa alav mishnato. It comes out, even if someone forgot his learning. Talmud lomer penya surah milavavecha. Forgot it. Kol yemei chayecha. Ha'enu mitchayev b'nafsho ad sheyashev v'yasira milibo. Now, you can forget something, right? You can't remember something, but it's the words of the Gemara are very important. Yasir mi libo, took it out of his heart. Hari lehedya lahakra nemar al klolius divrei Torah. It's talking about the Torah itself, not the event, right? Why didn't the Ramban bring this pasuk? Because it's talking about something else. It's talking about something else entirely. Right? Talking about Klolius Torah, and I'm talking about not the Torah itself. So what am I talking about? What is the Ramban referring to? So the final paragraph. Chosring on a bezeh. Let's go back l'shitato shel Ramban. Shapirish dahach hishamer lecha. This pasuk that says, guard yourself, pen tishkach, that you shouldn't forget dvarim asher ra'u einecha, the things that you saw. Ulav nimna b'cheshbon. It's love nimna. This is the mitzvah in the Tarik mitzvahs. Koyal zechirat ma'amen Har Sinai dafka. It's talking about remembering the event of Har Sinai. Upalig al daita shel hanach merabusa desfirulahu the katuvzu eno elazirus b'chol. And he takes issue with every other rabbi that holds that this pasuk is talking about remembering Torah. Remember the Torah we learned. Ukeneged shitas Ramban omedet he. A Mishnah to shocheach davar echad mi mishnaso. You remember, forget one thing. Chayev eno chayev achi yasir mi libo mitzad hakatuv hishamer lecha. Hare mefurash itmar. So let's get to the bottom line. What's the bottom line? Might be a little confusing, but there's two things that are going on here. One thing is not to forget the Torah that was given, but there's something else. Hare mefurash itmar dahakra. Al Klalis Torah Nemar, that's talking about the Torah Fein, Lefi Mashan Itbaer Lanu, B'inyanenu, B'maimin Har Sinai. What about Har Sinai? What is the Ramban thinking about? What's he thinking about? What's on his mind? What's the mitzvah? It's not remembering Torah. That's a general concept that we're obligated to remember Torah. Maybe you can say it's inclusive in the mitzvah of learning Torah. So what is the Ramban talking about? Hare Zechirat Maimed Har Sinai. Einena elahit chadshut kabbalat matan Torah. It is the renewal, the sense of renewal of freshness of matan Torah shel chashivut haTorah v'kavod mora, the kavod haTorah. When the atmosphere in which the Torah was given at Har Sinai was with a tremendous kavod haTorah, a reverence to Torah. It was a lightning thunder and lightning. It was a moment, and a tremendous emotional moment for Klal Yisrael. It was covered HaTorah, right? V'halo davar Parshat hu, shepulat hasarat l'divrei Torah min alev, and that comes from the heart, right? Giving over Torah from the heart. Mikora hi bebitul chashivutam covered moram shel divrei Torah. If we lack the ability to give over Torah, it's because it's not in the heart anymore, and that's what's missing. V'shapir yalfinan hasarat divrei Torah mitoch alev mikra v'shachata maimin Har Sinai. So what is he saying? The Torah that was given on Har Sinai, that's one thing. But we're talking about something else. We're talking about the event of Har Sinai, which was endowed with a sense of kavod and excitement and emotional enthusiasm. That's what we're supposed to remember. This is Rav Hutner. Actually, Rav Aaron Lichtenstein, I think we might have said a few years ago, said it a little bit differently. Rav Aaron Lichtenstein was actually a Talmud of Rav Hutner. You know Rav Aaron Lichtenstein from the Gush, Zatzal, the Rosh Hashiva of Gush Etzion, was the son-in-law of Rav Soloveitchik. But before he became the son-in-law of Rav Soloveitchik, he learned 10 years by Rav Hutner. And he said that put it in different words. He said maybe it's a little more understandable. He said the experience of Har Sinai, the experience of Torah, that's the mitzvah to remember. The experience of Har Sinai, that we have to sense that we're feeling it as if we're there right now. So when you teach a second generation Torah, it's as if he received it on Har Sinai, because you've come from a past generation. You're closer to Har Sinai. The grandfather, the grandmother is closer to Har Sinai. So when that grandmother and grandfather are teaching to their grandchildren, it's as if he receives it from Har Sinai. They're going back another generation, back to Har Sinai. It's a kind of the emotional impact of the moment. Okay. Final piece on page 2 is from Rav Shaul Alter, the Ger, the Rosh Hashiva of Ger, that we've started to bring a few of his pieces here. And he brings a couple of thoughts here about Shavuos, different kinds of thoughts. So let's start. He starts with something from Nirtza, from the end of the Haggadah Shel Pesach, right? Echad mi yodea. We have, everybody knows at the end of the Haggadah, one of the songs we sing in Nirtza is Echad mi yodea, and goes through who knows one, who knows two, etc. Shebesof Haggadah Shel Pesach. At the end of Haggadah Shel Pesach, mefartim et kol ma'alot haruchniot sheyesh l'am Yisrael. So Echad mi yodea describes all of the special number issues of the spirituality of Klal Yisrael. Echad hu Elokeinu, one is God. Shnei luchot habrit, 2 is the luchot habrit, the 2 tablets of the Torah. Avot v'imahot, keep 3 and 4. Chamisha chumshei Torah. V'yesh lavin. But here's my question: Lama omrim nayim mi yodea? Who knows 2? Shnei luchot habrit, the 2 tablets that hold that. What's on the 2 tablets? 10 commandments. Ariachakach meforshim v'omrim asara mi yodea. Who knows 10? Right? Asara dibraya, 10 commandments. Shezeu kol chashivas v'toelet shel haluchot. Right? Aseret dibrot shekolalot et kol Torah, the 10 commandments that hold all of the Torah. V'haluchot, what do you need 2 for? Right? What do you mention both? You have the luchot. So the luchot have the 10 commandments on them. So why do you have to mention the 10 commandments? Think of something else that's number 10, right? Why? Or think of something else that's number 2. Isn't it the same thing? So he says, no. He says, Shezeu kol chashivutam v'toelet shel haluchot. The importance of the luchot is aseret dibrot, the 10 commandments, shekolelet kol Torah. We know Rav Sadia Gaon, Rashi actually brings this in the Chumash, learns out all of the 613 mitzvahs from these 10 commandments, right? The haluchot heim harerak makom haktiva. The luchot is the place upon which the Torah was written. V'lama chilkam hapaitan. So what's the significance of dividing the 2? Lishtei ma'alot nifrodot, the 2 separate things. Ma makom yesh lahaskir haluchot b'makom shemaskirim Etzem HaDibrot. Why have to, you mentioned Luchot, okay, it's the place where the Torah is on. And you mentioned the Dibrot, that's the Torah. So why is it necessary to do that, right? So he says something beautiful. Aval be'emet, limud HaTorah enu rak chochma. Learning Torah is not just an academic exercise. We know that. Ella me'od talui al eza luach kotvim et divrei Torah. What's crucial here is upon what luach, what tablet, what heart, what person, what personality are you giving the Torah to? If you don't create a luach, a tablet for our children, for another Jew, the Torah is not going to stick. V'haluach she'alav kotzim et Torah hu ha'adam ba'atzmo. What's the luach? The luach is Adam, is the Jew. Ubeloshen Shlomo HaMelech alav hasholem. Kisvei mal luach libecha. Write the words of the Torah on the luach of your heart. Ukemevur b'Mishnah. The Mishnah in Avos says, Halomed yeled. Lemahu dome. If someone teaches a child, what is he compared to? L'dio. Suva al ner chadash. It's like ink on fresh paper. Ki bi'alduto. Because when you teach him as a young child, hayeled naki. K'moniyar chalak. The child is clean. He's fresh, like a new piece of paper. So you teach Torah to him at that early, tender age. K'moshe HaKadosh Baruch Hu yatzaroto, the way God created him. Kali, beli pegamim, without problems. V'dafka al luach kezeh haTorah nikletet. On such a luach, the Torah will stick. So we say, there's nothing like the Rabbi said, Girsa Diyankasa. What we learn as young children, it sticks with us, right? And ulechein mifatim shnei luchot habrit. So therefore, there's two luchot habrit. There's a different thing for the luchot, right? Nifradami yaseret hadibrot. Yaseret, the 10 Commandments, that's the Torah itself. But the shnei luchot habrit, that's the luach upon which the Torah was given. Ki yesh chashivut leluach she'alav kotvim et Torah. That you have to, don't just say that the luach is the place where the Torah was written. No, there's something very chashuv, very important, very crucial about the luach libam, the luach of the Leil, upon which the Torah is being written. Lo pachot me'asher l'ktivat atzmo. It's no less important than the Torah that was written as well. Now, he takes this drush a little further. Omrim b'chol yom. We say every day, Elokai neshama, God, the neshama shenatate bi tahori, we say in the morning, the neshama you gave me is pure. Kol yeled Yehudi nolad in neshama Torah. Every Jewish child is born with a pure soul. V'hashomrim al neshama shetiyasher b'tarata, and the people who guard, protect the child, to see that the neshama remains in its purity, maintains its purity, the luach, the child, maintains its purity. Shahaniyar yeh be'emet chalak, that the paper should be fresh and new and clean. Hema Beit Yaakov. This is the Beit Yaakov Elu Anashim. This is the mothers. Muvar b'Gemara. Nashim b'Ma'izachin, the Gemara says, what's the schut of women do not have all Taryag mitzvot? So the Gemara says, Ba'kroi b'nai lebeik nishta, that they raise their children to go to learn Torah. Uba'anuye, gavrayu, be'asnuye, gavrayu, be'rabonan, that they wait for their husbands to come home from learning, be'notrin le'gavrayu, and protect. In other words, this is a metaphor. It's a metaphor that women's role is not just as a housekeeper. It's creating an atmosphere at home for the children and for her husband, for everybody. It's the home, right? Schut shehen molichot et hayeladim lemakom limudam b'talmud Torah, to encourage the learning of her children. Umamtinot lehem b'chazratam, and waiting for them to come back. B'nei kavanat Chazal, what Chazal mean is, lo rak alma shemechinim baboker et hatik im ha'ochel. Not just that they prepare the knapsack and the lunchbox, umelavim et hayeled la'asa, and they walk the child out to his bus or her bus. Umamtinin lo b'chazor, and to wait for him when he comes back. Ela kavana hi lekol hame'atefet v'haruchniot shel hayeladim. It is giving over the entire sense of spirituality to the child. This is what we say that the Nashim b'may zachyan, ki ikar hachinuch liyirat shamayim, the essential chinuch of yirat shamayim, lishmor al niyar chalak, to protect that clear niyar chalak, sheyet b'li shritut u'b'li pegamim, that the paper should not be messed up. Tali harbe b'yirat shamama. That's up to the mother. Shem nimtzeit im hayeled harbe sha'at b'bayit. She's with the child at home. Hayeled mechubar eleha. The child is close to her. And he acquires from her. Et ha'avira haruchanit v'nechona b'bayit. And it is from his mother that he essentially gets his spirituality. Pekaf baboker imeira oto im negelva. She wakes him up to wash his hands. Im modeani umechanechet lebrachot, teaches his brachas. Misaperet sipurei tzadikim, tells them stories of tzadikim and Meshach kol sha'ot hayamam, and throughout the day, she's constantly teaching him v'toranut, mida tova, savlanut, patience, good midas, umietzem, hitagnut shelo atzma yayeled lomeid eich linageh. Because of the mother, the child learns how to be a mensch. Now, I want to tell you something. You know, I'm just going to throw this in. You're not supposed to wash, when you wash your hands for bread, right? You're not allowed to talk. Everybody knows you're not allowed to talk until you say amotzi, right? Right? Everybody knows that, and nobody talks, right? Let me ask you another way. In shul, during davening, during chazaras hashatz, you're also not supposed to talk. How come that when it comes to washing your hands for bread, nobody talks? But in shul, right, unfortunately, a lot of people talk, right? So I once heard, tongue-in-cheek, somebody said to me, you know why? Because who taught you how to wash your hands in the house? Who taught you how to wash your hands from your mother, right? And your mother taught you well. Who taught you how to not to talk in shul? Your father. And he's talking in shul, right? The adults are talking in shul. That's the difference, right? So here's the influence. Now, I'm not getting into a political correctness idea here about a woman in a career. These mothers also have careers, but women who have careers make it their business that their primary responsibility is to create a proper atmosphere at home, right? I'm not against a woman having a career. The Torah is not against that, but there's a primary focus that a woman has to have it, and the career cannot sacrifice raising one's children, right? Kach gam b'matan Torah. He says you have a similar idea with Matan Torah. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'Moshe Rabbeinu, Ko tomar levet Yaakov. It's mamish at Matan Torah and Shavuot that the Rebbeinu Shalom said, speak to Beis Yaakov. Rak achar kach tagid levnei Yisrael. Only afterwards he told them to instruct the men. First, instruct the women. Afterwards, instruct the men. But the primary focus is motherhood. Is not fatherhood, it's motherhood. The primary focus of guaranteeing a Jewish future is the mother, not the father. I remember my Rabbi once asked us a question many, many years ago. If you were going to a new town and there's nothing there, no school, what would you do first? What would you build first? What would you do? You have a shul, so what are you going to do next? So everybody said, a yeshiva. I said, no, a Beit Yaakov, a girls' school. You have to first educate the women. You educate the women, then you'll have plenty of yeshivas. Then you'll have a mikveh, you'll have kosher food, you'll have pizza shops, you'll have kosher restaurants, you'll have sforim stores, you'll have everything. But that's the first order of business. Ki Beit Yaakov ein ele shemechinot et haluchot. They're the ones that prepare the shnei luchot, abrit, the luach of the heart. V'shomrot al haniyar chalak, and they make sure that the page is fresh and clean. So therefore they come first. And Maimed Har Sinai, the Rebbeinu Shalom said to talk to Beis Yaakov, then to speak to the men. Which of course is why the Beis Yaakov movement was called the Beis Yaakov movement, based upon this pasuk. Minig Yisrael. Now, it's going to skip to something else, but it's all about preparation. Pre-preparation, which is the mother's role, but now he wants to say Minig Yisrael, Liot Neurim Balel Shavuot. The Minig Yisrael is to be up to learn Torah all night before the receiving of the Torah. Liitchonei lekabbalat Torah, to prepare ourselves for receiving the Torah. V'hinei, listen, Hanashim madirim shenem eineim leilot rabim b'meshech kol hashana. The truth is, mothers, they sleep very little at night. They're up feeding the baby. They're up late at night, right? Many nights of the year. Bishvil hachim and habayit laTorah, to prepare the home for Torah. One night a year, he's asking us. The Torah is asking us. This minig Yisrael is to stay up. Im zeh b'shutfut be'ol parnasa kedei sheyuchlu habayim lasok b'Torah. So how hard and how late the woman works at night for the sanctity of the home. Im kedei lasot tzorchei habayit kipshuto, just to simply keep things in order. Amnam ein leilot ela leil halel mefursam kemo leil Shavuot aval heim chashuv מאוד. Those every night of the year, those are holy nights, right? But now, what we need this night to stay up, the night of Shavuos, to learn before Shavuos night, is a mitzvah a minute that goes back to hoary antiquity, and he wants to say a mashal to tell us how important it is. If we go into Shavuos without it, it makes a big difference than going into Shavuos with it. So listen to what he says. Ulai kedai b'inyan zeh la'azkir et hamashal shesiper harav hakodesh haRebbi Reb Chenech mi Alexander, the Alexander Rebbe. He says a mashal. Al adam she bizman Beit HaMikdash, a guy was during the time of the Beit HaMikdash. Shelo olo l'regel Yerushalayim. He never went up once. He's supposed to go to the mitzvahs to go to Yerushalayim 3 times a year. That's olat regel, mitzvah to go to the Beit HaMikdash 3 times a year. He never went. But he was very much afraid of the journey. Not easy, today it's a lot easier, right? But it was hard, right? The time of the Beis Hamikdash, he had nowhere to stay. Whatever. When he got older, he thought, he said, one time, and to come to Yerushalayim. I have to do it. A Jew should go through life and not get to see Yerushalayim once, get to see the Beis Hamikdash once. He didn't know how to get there. It was very embarrassing for him. Every Jew went 3 times a year. Everyone knew the way. They knew what was going on in the Beis Hamikdash. He had to ask, how do I get there? Im zakan lavan, an old man with a white beard, lo yodeh dvarim shesayamim shekol yelad Yehudi yoda, every Jewish child knows. Achrei kol habizyonot v'hame'amtzim, after all this embarrassment, hu higiel leBeis Hamikdash, he gets to the Beis Hamikdash. Hu chashav shehu yireh mashu yitzdik es kol TORAH v'habizyonot, he thought he's going to now see something that's going to be so overwhelming to him, that it's going to remove all of the embarrassment and all the difficulty that he had for getting there, right? Going to see something powerful and beautiful and romantic, right? What did he see? He saw Kohanim walking around barefoot, so that nothing should be a chatzitza between their feet and the floor of the Mishkan. And the floor was full of blood from the korbanot. They were shechting animals, they were flaying animals. They were butcher. It was like a major butcher, right, area, an abattoir. What am I seeing here? He saw a huge abattoir. So what's the mashal all about? The mashal is, he didn't really prepare to come to the Beis Hamikdash. He didn't prepare to come to Yerushalayim. It's the preparation. We'll appreciate Torah more if we spend a couple of very meaningful hours in advance of coming to Shul Shavuos to read the Aseres HaDibros, but to do some learning ourselves. Then we'll appreciate what we're going to get. Okay, I just want to say one thought on Yerushalayim. Aside, we just had one, but just a fascinating fact. if you go to the encyclopedia, I mean, actually, we had a family simcha last Shabbos, a great nephew's bar mitzvah, and the grandfather, my brother-in-law, who was for many years one of the Rosh Kol of Bar Ilan University, spoke. Of course, it was his grandson's bar mitzvah, and he said over the following: if you go to the encyclopedia, the Talmudas, on Yerushalayim, and you'll see many things on Yerushalayim, but one of the things that the encyclopedia will tell you is how many times Yerushalayim is mentioned in Tanakh, right? In different names, and all the different names of Yerushalayim. Okay? Yerushalayim is mentioned 669 times in Tanakh. 669 times in Tanakh. Now, is there a significance to that number? So he discovered a tremendous significance based on something that he read and saw the week before the bar mitzvah, which I think you are familiar with to a certain extent. There was a Sir in England, Sir Nicholas Winton. No, Sir Nicholas Winton is? Of course you do, right? He died in 2015. He was a British stockbroker and a humanitarian. He helped rescue Jewish children, Kinder, the Kinder transport. He came from Nazi Germany during the Holocaust. He was born actually from German Jewish parents who came to Britain in the beginning of the 20th century. He was not really identified with the organized Jewish community, but he was Jewish, right? So he saved children from Czechoslovakia during the World War. So, and he was honored late in years. They had a tremendous. I think there's a video, there's a film on it. And I urge you to find it and look at it. It was very moving, and he received letters of thanks from all over the world of these children who he saved. One letter, by the way, was from the Gavot of Yerushalayim Zatzal, the rabbi of the Eidah Charedis, Rav Weiss Zatzal, who passed away a few years ago. Rav Sternbach took over for him. Rav Weiss was from London. He lived in London, and he knew English, and he wrote a letter in English. This is the great Rav of the Eidah Charedis of Yerushalayim, wrote a letter in English to Sir Winton thanking him. But what's the point here? How many children did this Jew, this holy Jew, Sir Nicholas George Winton, how many Jewish children did he save? 669. If you do the math. He saved 669 children of Yerushalayim, Jewish children. And Yerushalayim is mentioned 660. You can't make these things up. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has strange ways of giving us lessons, but that's what I wanted to share with you. So 669 times Yerushalayim is mentioned in the Torah. If you have an encyclopedia, Talmudist, or you have it online, if you have to take a look at it, fascinating, all the names of Yerushalayim that are brought there. We should see Im Yirtzeh Hashem very soon Yerushalayim Hashlema, Yerushalayim Habnuya, Bimher of Yameinu. I have seen today, I don't know, about 80 times people sent me this moving video that someone put together, various moments of the taking of Yerushalayim, ending up with Rav Gorn at the Kotel. So if you haven't seen it yet, just Google it, you'll get it, and it's a very moving piece. There are many, many things going around. So the waning hours of Yom Yerushalayim, we should appreciate what we have and daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he gives us the power and the ability through our learning of Torah and through the fighting of our holy Chayalim to have safety and shalom, OUisrael, Yerushalayim. Have a wonderful evening.